Hey.
Hey, everyone.
Hey there. What is up? My name is Tate.
And I'm Taryn.
And this is Plant That Sis.
Podcast.
The
podcast about plants.
You guessed it.
Hello, friends, and welcome back.
Howdy. How is it going? How's it hanging, Taryn?
It's hanging. It's good. How are you?
I'm good. Surviving.
That was not convincing.
Some might say.
Some may say.
We are surviving. I'm a survivor.
Why aren't you thriving, Queen? What's wrong?
Oh, nothing's wrong. I'm thriving, surviving,
just
thriving.
living life.
I was trying to keep it into the theme of the episode, you know.
Oh.
See what I mean?
I'm a survivor.
See?
You're
Don't
right.
sue us, Warner Bros. Or whoever owns that.
Beyonce would never, right?
Uh.
LOL. Welcome to today's episode. We are so excited to share with you our Survivors Club.
Yes.
This is a group of plants, at least for me, that have stuck with me through a lot of neglect. And when I say a lot, I mean complete neglect, as in zero effort that I put in for well over a year. Obviously, I put a lot more effort and work into plants now, but I am just so grateful that these plants stuck it out because it's kind of what made me feel like I could do plants.
Yes. The ride or die plants. Same for me. Yeah, the ones I have on here are the ones I was like, okay, I give up. But they didn't give up. And they're still here, so.
They are strong
Yes.
women.
Yeah.
All of mine, I originally had outdoors. So I used to live in an apartment and I had them on my outdoor patio. So totally exposed to the Texas temperamental elements.
Yes.
Freezing, blasting, burning heat, some, rain, but probably not that much rain. I don't really know what the magical combination of things were to make these specific plants live because I had many of their friends and fellows die.
Right? It's
along the way.
It's like, what? Why did these ones live? They just had
exactly.
a will. They had a will to live.
I wish I could say the reason they lived is because I talked to them or sang to them or something, but
What are you, a Disney princess?
that would be incorrect. Okay, so all of my Survivors Club plants were given to me by Grammy.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. There might be one or two that weren't out, actually, now that I say that, but most of them were given to me by Grammy, and like I mentioned, they were stuck on my outdoor patio and really kind of left there to fend for themselves. So, and we're going on about 3 years now of having these plants, that these plants have survived. So, first one on the list is, drumroll please. Oh, she got chops, y'all. She got chops.
Oh, yeah, you know it. You know it.
Fun fact, Tay is a drumming superstar.
I used to
be
a drummer.
The drum captain of her high school.
Oh, you know.
Casual all-stater.
Yeah. I peaked in high school.
Shut up.
I'm just kidding.
Maybe your chops peaked in high school because you don't need them anymore.
Yes, I don't play anymore, but shout out to all you drumline queens out there living it up in the drumline. All of our strong women drummers, because I know the struggle. Okay, I get it.
Exactly.
I really get it. I really do. And y'all are awesome. So whatever. I hope you guys have plans now.
All right, anyways. So the first plant on the list is the Tradescantia Purple Heart, which this is hilarious. As I was like, oh, I remember. It's the Padilla. Remember how in
Padilla?
our Tradescantia episode, yeah, Tate said Padilla, and then I was like, well, isn't it Padilla? Which, funny story.
I'm white. I don't know.
Number one, that was episode 15, Plant of the Month, Tradescantia. If you'd like to take a listen, go check it out. But the funniest thing of all of it is It's actually Paledia.
Oh.
It's Palladia.
We were
So
both
not
wrong.
fucking quesadilla over here trying to fight about quesadilla or quesadilla.
Oh,
We were
wow.
so wrong. We were trying so hard, and we both missed the
Maybe
mark.
we should
So,
like put
LOL.
more effort into like looking up how to pronounce these things instead of just. I'm really talking to myself right now because I'm like, I think that's it.
Some
I
may
think that's how you
say,
pronounce
but
it.
those people can create their own plant podcasts and be really serious
So what is it again?
about names. It's Palladia.
Palladia. I was like, Paedia?
Well, I think we just
Palladia.
accidentally flipped the D and the L, so we thought it was Padilla.
Wow. Well,
Anyways,
we're
regardless,
doing a little retroactive correction here.
a quick little fix,
Quick little fix.
little white it out. It's fine. Okay, so this plant was definitely given to me by Grammy. It's been in the same pot for 3 years, and it dies and grows back every year. So every winter.
Oh, this is on my list too.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt.
The same
Go ahead.
one that you got years ago?
Yes. Yes.
Wow.
The same
So-
one. It has died and come back every time, and I need to check on it now. But yeah, it's definitely one that I have just whatever
Literally
happens
left.
to it happens
Yep.
to it.
Exactly. Me too.
And it always
It's so
survives.
crazy. It always comes back every year. I will admit, to do a little bit of research, I know it doesn't sound like I do any research, but I did have to do a little bit of digging into some old photos and videos to verify my Survivors Club to make sure I wasn't forgetting anybody. And when I looked back, I noticed that this was a lot more bushy than it is now. Like, now that I've seen an older picture, I see we've thinned out a little bit. So I think I'm going to repot it.
It's a good idea.
Yeah, just try to give it some more life, and maybe it'll
If you prune it,
really
does
get
it-
going.
Does it get a little more bushy? I wonder. Because I
I
feel
could
like
probably
mine
do that,
also
too.
mine also grow real leggy. I have like
Yes.
3 of them that just grow real leggy and long. So I'm wondering if we prune them, they'll,
Yeah, I bet you're right about that.
grow out on the sides a little more. I don't know. It's just a thought.
You're definitely right about that, but it's just also been so many years. Again,
Oh,
It's
yeah.
been in the same pot for 3 years,
Oh,
and
yeah,
I
I
think
mean,
it's just time. It needs
if
a
it's in
little.
the Survivors Club,
It needs a little freshening up, I would say. Okay, the next plant on the list is a lace aloe. I also saw it called a torch plant. It's a type of aloe, and it kind of looks like a haworthia, the classic zebra-looking haworthia that has white-ish stripes. This was another one from Grammy, and it really has struggled over time. It's remained quite small. Really didn't grow much until a lot more recently, but I think it's because we finally figured out, I think it was last summer, Tate, we were helping Grammy with some outdoor projects. We were doing some things, and she had hers underneath one of those like black outdoor like mesh looking but metal tables.
yeah.
And it was like basically under complete shade. It was outside in a sunny area, but it was under a table with complete shade.
Yep.
So these aloe actually turns out like it a lot more shady than some other varieties. And I think that was it. I think I just was leaving it out to cook, and so it always got real brown, but it always survived and came back year after
Yeah,
year, and
these
it gave me
are
more green.
hardy.
Yes.
Also on my
Like-
in my club as well.
Is it really?
Yes. Glad to know we have the
Oh.
same plants in our Survivor clubs.
Because Grammy was like,
Yes.
one for you, one for you.
Yep. Well, and this is the one that I literally I dropped one of them and broke the pot, and so I just put the clumps of dirt in another pot and just stuck it in there. Didn't even really plant it or anything. And it's still alive. It's it's literally just sitting on top of dirt right now. It's still alive. It's still surviving, and I really need to give it some TLC. I need to. I just haven't yet.
Yeah. Yep. I have another one that has grown ginormous, but it hasn't been through the years of
Yeah, same.
neglect to get there. But recently, this one of mine, again, I have another one that's gotten really big, and I had to up pot, and it's looking pretty good. It's looking also a little sunburnt, which is a side tangent, but this one is, I have it on my patio, pulled up kind of against the wall on a table, so it doesn't really, the only direct sun it would get would be in the morning from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's looking really good. And so we'll, see how it goes. I'm hoping it'll actually start growing if I actually care for it.
I had one like that I had. So I had it outside. It got morning sun. And I think by noon, it didn't get any sun. And then I brought it inside for the winter. It's still inside in my bathroom. bright and direct light. It's the one that bloomed in winter for some reason. It had all that snow on it with like the flowers. Anyways, it has a ton of new growth just sprouting out from the edges. So I need to repot it into a bigger pot and do all that too. But I think, yeah, mine was in the shade and it really liked it.
Note that.
Note it down. Jot that down.
Jot it. Get your pencil out.
You're taking all of mine. Okay, I don't think I have any of your other ones in your club. No, we can just talk about it together. It's fine, but...
I was going to say, would you like to say some of yours? Like, I don't need to go through my whole list.
Yeah, I'll say some of mine. I'll jump in. I'm going to cut you off and... No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, the one that I have that is the most striking to me is this. So somebody gave me this prickly pear cactus, right? It was a cacti. They didn't really want it. And I was like, sure, I'll freaking take a cactus. I like cactus. Cacti, they're cool.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, any free plant ever. I'm like, yep. Bring
Absolutely.
it on over. But yeah, so I kind of gave up on it. It wasn't looking too good. It was kind of starting to turn a little white and brownish. And I was like, you know what? I think I just had a lot of crap going on. And I was like, you know what? It's a cactus. Maybe it'll live. I don't know. So I just kept it outside. It gets mostly full sun, some shade in the day. I left it outside during the winter storm. So, of course, when everything froze over and my wonderful yucca died. R.I.P. She's gone. This thing survived. I thought it was dead for sure in the winter storm. I was like, it is not going to come back. It's dead. You know what? I go out there a couple weeks ago, and it's got new growth. It has new little prickly pears.
Aww.
Like little, I don't want to say leaves. I don't know what you call them, but the little...
they almost look like buds, maybe, but it's just like tiny...
Yes, they're little.
Cactus beginnings.
They're little, and now they're starting to get bigger, so I was just like, okay, all right. So, totally in my Survivor Club, looking great.
That's crazy because so many in the area, like just driving around, there's lots of prickly pears where we live in central Texas area, and they are destroyed. Like so many big, grand...
Oh, yeah, they're gone.
They are just absolutely destroyed.
Yeah,
so I'm surprised that it bounced back.
I don't know how it lived through that snow, honestly. I was like, it's going to be freaking dead. I was kind of sad, but, I was like, it's okay. Maybe I'll get another one. But yeah, I actually have a whole new appreciation for this cactus. I love it. Also, my another one in my club that I don't think you have yet is
in the club. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
In the club, we all fam.
Another one in the club is Desert Rose. So my Desert Rose did really bad. Like I got it on sale in the wintertime at some nursery, and I had to buy like these artificial lights for it because I didn't get enough light in my apartment that I lived in, and it was not doing well, but it was hanging on. It was doing okay. And then I moved here. It got outdoor light all the time, did great, and then again started not doing well recently. So it's kind of not doing the best right now because we've been getting so much rain here that like I think it's just a little too much rain for it. So I put it in a spot where it's getting full sun now, like all day full sun. And I'm hoping that the rain will help it for the summer because I'm just not even gonna mess with it anymore.
Yeah, you're like stock up now because this is all you're getting.
That's what I'm hoping. I'm like, okay, this is all the water it's literally going to get probably for the rest of the year because I don't want to mess with it. I don't want to give it more water. I just am going to let it do its thing. But it has been losing leaves a lot, which makes me sad. But it also was growing flowers too. So like, I don't know. I think it's just confused, and I'm confused.
It's having a hard time.
This one is in my Survivors Club, and it is still in the Survivors Club. I don't know if it's really out yet, but yeah, it's kind of on the brink right now. So I'll have to update you in a little
TBD if it stays in the club or not.
Exactly, TBD. But tell us some more of yours, Tara, and who else, what other buddies do you have in your club?
Okay, the next buddy I'd like to mention is you guys know it already, a spider plant.
Ooh, yeah.
Now, I don't know how this thing survived. I had two of them out on that patio, a green one, and this is a variegated one. I looked it up in our old episode. If you would love to listen to more about a spider plant, you can go listen to Plant of the Month episode number 8. And you can hear us talk all about Vitatum, Vitatum, whatever. But
tomato.
tomato, fruit salad, yummy, yummy.
Wow.
It is the Vitatum, which has the white in the middle. Don't know if that really makes a difference of why it survived, but it is that one. I specifically remember having them, again, they were both out on the patio, and I specifically remember we had a really bad winter storm, not the winter storm of this year. This was like several years back, and...
But it snowed that year, I remember.
Okay, yeah.
It did
there was
snow.
snow involved.
It didn't snow like crazy, but it snowed.
Yeah. And it was a covered patio, but it was, again, a second story, and so there was just tons of wind. And I went out there after the storm had passed, and all of my plants looked like they were blown completely sideways. You know what I mean? Like,
yes.
And brown, and they looked absolutely dead.
It's
so I thought
horrible.
they were both dead. And somehow, some way, this one came back really slowly. And this one I have actually up-potted since then, and I've gotten tons of babies from it, and it's doing pretty good now.
Wow.
I can tell. I think I'm going to try to repot it, still in the same pot, because it's a pretty good-sized pot, but I can tell that it's starting to split a little bit. Like, you can tell there's different individual plants,
Yeah.
so I'm curious to see if I'll be able to split it, or I may just leave it all there and make it the biggest, most giant, bushy spider plant that ever lived.
Nice. Yeah, I also have spider plants in my survivor club. I guess they're just survivors, you know. They know how to live.
Multiple?
Yeah,
They
I have
do know how
multiple.
to live. Nice.
Yes. You know, one of them that likes to get knocked over by my cat. That was
Right.
surviving.
Or carried off the babies.
Oh my
They're like,
God,
"Ooh,
literally.
I'll take this.
I'm like, you literally eat meat. Get out of here. You're gonna eat it.
Right. It's just a toy.
It is. It is.
Okay,
All
the
right,
next
who else?
one on my list is the elephant bush.
Ooh, yes.
And I'm surprised this isn't on your list, Tate.
It is.
Oh, okay. It is. Got it. Got it. Another one that's on your list. You literally
Yes.
said, like, oh, none of mine match yours anymore. And now you're like, oh, yeah, that's on my list.
I know. Well, I didn't write them all down on our little document. I have them in my head,
Oh,
in my brain.
Gotcha.
You know, the
Okay, yeah,
ultimate
so
list
you
in my
know.
brain.
It's the best place to keep things.
Yep.
Okay, so
They
then
never
you
get
know
lost.
the elephant bush, and I did look up what it's actually called, and I'm going to try to say it out loud, but I didn't look up pronunciation at all, so take it with a grain of salt. But it's the Portulacaria afra. Something
Portulacaria
like that.
afra.
Portulacaria afra, something like that.
Something
It's a
like
succulent, and it's really interesting looking. It's different than probably what you would picture as a
That's really
succulent if you just
cool.
thought of a succulent. And supposedly, elephants love to eat this in Africa. That's what the internet says.
that.
So
That's why
again,
they're called elephant bush.
but it is a really interesting. You can tell it stores all of its moisture in the like trunks and stems, and then it pushes out these really small green leaves all around it. It's a really interesting looking plant, and it can cascade. Like, you can put it in a big planter and have it grow and spill over, which is really interesting. But yeah, I've had this one again. This has been in the same pot literally since I got it from Grammy forever ago. It's gone through several moments of losing pretty much all of its leaves, but they always seem to grow more leaves when
Yep.
it's back out in the sun again. So
I have the same experience.
seems pretty obviously seasonal, and it's been really hardy. Again, I think this year might be the year I need to take it out, kind of clean up the roots a little bit, give it fresh soil, and put it back in. But it's doing really good. Looking really happy right now, actually.
I feel like these ones are kind of sensitive to like when you move them or mess with them. You know what I mean? Like if they're like, they seem like they do best when you kind of just leave them in a spot and they can kind of grow with consistent light. But every time I have to move mine, like bring it in for the winter or move it back out for the summer, it seems like that's when it can get a lot of leaves just falling off.
Dropping off, yeah.
Yeah.
I think you're right about that, and I think, like you said, bringing it inside for the winter and then it being inside, like especially
Yeah.
this year, I had it under a grow light, not directly, but it was under the grow light in a pretty good spot, and it still lost a ton of leaves. So I don't know
Yeah.
if it's just truly it knows it's like a true seasonal thing, or if it really has to do with, I don't really know. But it comes back every year when I put it back out in the
Yes.
sun and it's sunny outside. It's smiling back at me. So highly recommend for hot.
Yeah, and they're definitely really
sunny.
cool looking. They don't look like your average like succulent, I would say.
Okay, Tate, what else you got on your list?
Honestly, I think that's it because, you know, a lot of plants when they enter my survivors club, they usually die there. Or if they get into the part where I guess they wouldn't be in the Survivors Club if they died. Actually, that was
They're
kind
in
of
like the
dumb.
Hall of Fame
Yeah, they're in
of
like,
the Survivors Club.
like my yucca would have been in the Survivors Club had it not
Honorable
died
mention.
in the winter storm, which, was very random, okay? How could I have known? But anyways, I do have some succulents that, like, I don't even know what kind of succulents they are. I'm going to be honest. I've tried to, like, look and to see what kind they are. I cannot freaking figure it out. I just, got them from some random succulent bin or whatever. It was like $3 for succulents. So,
Yep.
But they are hanging
Big box
on.
store.
Yes, they're hanging on. There's one Taryn that you know about. So think back to like 8 months ago when we first started, and there was that one tall succulent I had that I said was doing really good, and then it started doing really bad. Remember, it like almost died?
Yeah.
Well, it's alive. It's alive. It's doing good. It's I'll kind of try to describe what it looks like since I don't know what kind it is, and I've looked and I cannot figure out what kind of succulent this is, but it grows upwards, and it's not like a rosette like a normal succulent. It kind of grows up, and it has leaves on these stems that grow up that kind of go out, and they almost look like they're similar to like a jade leaf. So they kind of look like that, and their leaves are all kind of clumped together as well, and they're green usually, but they have red on the outside when they get really
almost
sunny.
Bluish too.
Yeah, almost blue. Yeah, exactly. So this plant I had it inside I just had it inside for a long time because I get a lot of sun in one of my rooms, and I thought it would like that. And I brought it inside for the winter, and it was kind of not doing that well, and I think I might have overwatered it. This one's really sensitive to water, like really sensitive. But I have moved it outside, and it's doing really good again. It's living. It's alive. I'm hoping it doesn't die from all this water, but since it's outside, I'm hoping all that sun, it'll be fine. With all that sun, it'll be okay. And that's one in the Survivors Club.
I'm pretty sure it's one of the varieties. There's obviously a lot of these plants, but I'm pretty sure it's a kalanchoe of some sort, because I have that too, that same plant. But I don't remember which one it is. So I don't know if that's very helpful.
Well, I Googled kalanchoe, and it doesn't look like.
Well, there's so many kinds.
Oh, really?
Like, there's a lot of
like
different
a huge
kinds
family
that
or
are
something.
kind of popular, yeah.
Gotcha.
Because Kyle got me one when I for my birthday last year. That was in one of the things he got me, and they gave him a list of all the plants, and so I kind of had to like put them together. So I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's some version of a kalanchoe. But it is a succulent. Mine was doing really good outside, brought it in for the winter, got really freaking leggy, looking a little rough. I put it back outside. This is definitely not in my Survivors Club. This is a pretty new addition, but I put it back outside, and all the existing growth is looking kind of rough, and it's kind of balded out towards the center,
Yes.
But there's a lot of new growth coming up from the center.
Okay.
So I'm like, maybe I'm honestly thinking, Tate, I'm like, should I just chop all of this stuff off? Once it gets a few leaves that can, produce photosynthesize or whatever, I'm gonna cut off all the other stuff, and I think I'm just gonna set it in that like front little tiny succulent bed I have.
Yeah. Ooh,
and
I bet
see
it would
if
do
it'll
good there.
mix in with that.
I bet it would do good.
Ghost plant.
Yeah, I have one. The one where mine is, it gets like direct sun for some of the day and then shade for some of the day. So it seems to really like that. So I bet it would do really good there. Should do it.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna
see what happens. Why not?
Exactly. It might just die, and that's okay.
Not? It's okay. You know what? You learn. And that's the important part.
That's what matters. Education.
All right, so let's finish out with your Survivor Club, because I think that's all the members in mine currently. I'm sure more will be added as time goes on.
Surely, right? Okay, so I have 2 more in mine. The first one is funny. We were just talking about a kalanchoe. The one I'm about to mention is another kind of kalanchoe. It's also a succulent. It is a fang plant. It's a really interesting plant. It has these big, broad leaves. They're really, they're kind of triangular shaped. And then on the bottom, there's all these, it looks like stalagmites, stalactites, whichever one goes down. It looks like all of these, like,
It kind of looks like
pointy.
popcorn ceiling
Yeah, it looks like a
in a way.
popcorn ceiling. That's exactly right, Tay. It's
Yes.
sort of like a little popcorn ceiling on the bottom of these leaves. It's really
That's so
weird,
weird.
really interesting. Had it outside, ignored it, nothing really happened. At this point, that plant grew so much. It was getting so tall in its pot that I literally, and it had also split into two. So it was like one long stem, and at the very top of the stem, it had split into like two whole plants almost.
Wow.
And so I literally just chopped it off.
Lucky.
Just like yoink, chopped it off, stuck all the
Snip,
leaves.
snip.
Yep, little snip snap, stuck it in a new pot, and then just left the existing stem and kept watering it to see if it would push out new growth, and it did. So now I have the
Ooh.
big gorgeous one that was the double header, right?
Yep.
I have that one separate, and I have like another one out of it. So basically I have two now gorgeous looking fang plants from my one survivor fang plant.
Nice.
So that's always fun and satisfying.
So the surviving one, the original one, almost died at one point.
Oh yeah. I mean, just like it's definitely
I think I remember
it lost
that.
a lot of bottom leaves. Like that's how, at least for me.
Oh my
that's
god,
how-
I remember that. It had like 2 leaves left at one point.
Yeah,
Yeah. I think I remember it in your apartment, right?
I think so.
Haven't you had it
Well,
since then?
Yes, it was outside though, but yeah,
Yeah, I remember. On your
Mhm.
balcony.
yes, that one.
Wow, that's the same one. I thought that had died. You got a new one.
Well, I did have another one. Like I had two fang plants, and one
Yeah.
of them died at one point, but the other one has
Okay.
lasted this whole entire time. And again, I have two whole plants out of it now, which is
That's awesome.
cool. So
That
I
is
don't think
awesome.
I'm gonna be up potting that one because I chopped off and started it anew, and it
Yeah.
grew from the old one. So I think I'm just gonna leave that, keep it going.
Let it do its thing.
Yeah, it's doing its thing. It
Let
looks really
it do
good.
its thing.
They both look really good, I should say.
Yes.
Okay, and then the last one that I have to talk about. Oh my gosh, I was tripping. I was having such a moment, just freaking out. So I have this, what I thought was another type of aloe. Okay, it looks
Yes.
like an aloe. It smells like an aloe. It walks like an aloe.
Mm-hmm.
You know what they say? That means it's an aloe. Okay, it's not. Turns out it is a freaking bromeliad, which is shocking because in
Oh.
my mind, though I don't have any real experience with bromeliads. Actually, I do, turns out, from this Survivors Club plant that's been here forever. But essentially, it's this blue, again, looks sort of like an aloe. It's a rosette style plant, from center out, and it's blue. So a real silvery blue color, and it has really pointy spikes on the, not really branches, the leaves.
The leaves, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like you do not want to fall into one.
Yes.
Looks like they can get quite big as well.
Uh-huh. I, again, thought it was an aloe, so I spent all this freaking time trying to figure out this type of aloe. I looked at so many aloe varieties. I was like, where the mother is this plant? I was getting so
Where is
pissed.
it?
And then I just you know how it is. You just happen to see it finally because one person mislabeled it as an aloe, thank goodness. So I saw the picture. So then I image searched it and figured it
Boom.
out.
Boom.
It's a, I'm sure I'm going to say this wrong. Hectia, Hechtia. I'm pretty sure you say Hectia, not Hechtia.
Yeah. Hechtia.
Hechtia. But it has done such a great. So it started off as a real small, probably like you were kind of mentioning, to like one of those like $3 or $4 for like a little plant.
Little bitties.
And obviously it's kept going. It's been pretty solid. Honestly, this one hasn't ever looked super rough, but I can tell when it's really happy and I can tell when it's not that happy. I want to say not this past
Vocal.
summer, but the summer before that, it was like all summer long smiling at me. It was so happy.
Oh.
At this point, it is now. So I watched a video. Tate, you're going to love this. I found a video on YouTube. It's a Central Texas Gardener video. You know how we love Central Texas Gardener.
Yes.
If y'all haven't checked out Central Texas Gardener, you should. If you don't live in Texas, it may not be that helpful or interesting to you, but it's like our
pretty
local
awesome.
PBS, KLRU, whatever. And they have such great tips. Like, I'm all about
They
it.
do. They do, especially for our area, which is.
And they
I
had a
feel like-
video of this plant specifically.
Really?
Yes! I
Oh
was
my
dying.
gosh. Wow, they are here for you.
I know.
For
They
your
get me.
bromeliad.
They
Your
really get me.
bromeliad.
Bro, Milliad.
Bromeliad.
Bro. Okay. Yes. So basically, I watched this video, and this guy was splitting one in half because they essentially
Oh.
split from the center and create two plants or more. Like
Oh, okay.
they can make pups like an aloe
Aloe.
too,
Yeah.
but really they mostly split and they like create themselves into two plants. And
That's
mine is
cool.
100% ready to split. It is two
Oh,
whole
shoot.
ass plants, like little twins there. And I've
Yeah,
noticed that
it's
for a
time.
while, but I watched this video and he just cut that thing in half.
It's time. And
And
then you can get 4.
exactly. And then we can just
and then you
keep it
can get
going.
8.
And I just must say, this plant really does. It's one of those that brings me so much joy. Again, it's so not needy. I've treated it like an aloe or a succulent. It's been outside.
Right.
I don't know why I picture bromeliads as like you put them in a thing with a frog. So like lots of moisture, I'm sure
Yeah.
there's a lot of variety within the bromeliad family or whatever, but
Yeah.
I just don't have a lot of experience, so I was really surprised to hear that. But it's
That's awesome.
super low maintenance, and like I said, it gets
They look so cool.
pretty in the sun in the summer. Like they just are they're smiling. I don't know how to explain it. They're just smiling, and I
You
have
can tell they're
mine in a
glowing.
red pot. And so the like contrast of the blue leaves with the like deep red pot that I have it in,
Ooh, nice.
it just looks really good. So
I can't wait to see it.
I know.
Maybe this should be the one on the Instagram.
Ooh, you're right. I need to go do a little photo shoot.
Little photo
action
shoot.
out there. Okay, really quick, before we kind of wrap this up, I have a couple of honorable mentions that, like you were mentioning with your yucca, Tate, if they were alive right now, they would 100% be in this group,
Yes.
or at least really close to being in this little grouping. But they're, maybe not surviving well. So my honorable
Right.
mentions are, number 1, the Hoya Grammy gave me that I know I've bragged about before on this podcast.
It died.
Yes, it was dying, and I salvaged every piece of it I could. And I have one cutting that I took before the plant was struggling that I have in a passive hydroponic setup, and it's really
nice.
happy. It looks really
Oh,
good.
good.
Hoyas love that type of setup, so
Okay.
that one's going strong. And then I also have several others that I've been rooting, and so I have a handful of them, and they're all doing fine. But the big, beautiful plant that I had is no longer with us, and I had that one for a
R.I.P.
while, like definitely
did.
2 years or something like that. So
Yeah, it's a long time.
tears
R.I.P.
there. So it's living on, but it's not. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, the next one I know I've cried about before on this podcast also. My big, giant, gorgeous ZZ plant that I had for a really long time that I overwatered by
Aw.
accident. That was, it like 2 whole years of just doing nothing but growing, and it was growing so much, like it was starting
I
to
thought it was
really
coming
pop
back.
off. Well, I thought it was. It was starting to really pop off. Okay, I watered it, which I barely ever watered it because I'm not, I followed internet directions, right? So I watered it very scarcely, but I water it a lot when I water it, and so I did that. But
Mhm.
I forgot to freaking empty the drainage tray, so I
Oh,
was
yeah.
like, woke up the next day and was like, oh no, and it was already wilting. It was already
Oh
looking
my
unhappy. I
gosh.
did the hydrogen peroxide trick. I repotted I took it all out, the tubers, because those grow out of those tuber things. They looked
Mhm.
fine. None of the roots looked dead. So I was like, okay, I'll just split this into some other pots, like I'll just split up the plant while we're here, and maybe it'll be okay. I gave you one, I gave Grammy one,
Yeah.
and then I kept
Mine's
a
alive
couple.
still.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
There was one I had to throw away because it just died. I have 2 other that like are split offs of that, and they just aren't looking great. They're
Aw.
alive, but they're not looking great. So I don't have high hopes. I'm really sad because it was it was getting so tall and like actually
R.I.P.
starting to
ZZ.
be like a whole statement, and
Yes.
it's gone.
It was a
So,
big plant. It was huge.
yeah. So that's
R.I.P.
sad, but
R.I.P.
again, some are still kind of living
Yeah. Maybe they'll come
not
back.
vicariously, but yeah, exactly. Maybe the plant will live on. And then my last one, Tate, you're going to be so disappointed to hear this. This is just a recent development.
Uh-oh.
Remember 2 years ago for my birthday, you got me that peperomia tricolor?
Yes, yes, yes.
Well, it is not looking good. It has been
No.
looking okay, so it was looking really good forever. Like for so long, it looked
Yeah,
great. Eventually, it started looking rough, and I figured maybe I just needed to repot it because it had been like a year and a half
a
at
long
that point.
time, yeah.
So I repotted it, and it was looking fine. You know, they gotta adjust before they really start going off to a
Yes.
new pot, whatever. And
Yeah.
I have it in my bathroom with a bunch of other plants,
Mm-hmm.
and it's been looking rough. It's been looking rough. Anyways, I go to water on my plants, so I pulled it down the other day, and like half the leaves fell off, and there's like
Oof.
all this like brown, like it looks like there's some sort of pest. I don't know what pest, but
Oh
something is like
no.
ravaging it.
Oh no. You know, mine has issues like that sometimes too. Like mine has not been looking that good, and I got mine around the same time that I got you yours.
Hmm.
Maybe they just don't live as long. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean,
Maybe it's just
I
not.
have no idea. But mine is also not. I mean, I so ever since I started misting the bathroom when we got the orchid, I've started like really and the staghorn fern. I've been trying to really keep it humid in there, just mist it a couple times a day. Ever since I
Uh-huh.
started doing that, it has popping out new leaves like crazy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so maybe it likes it more humid. Maybe it's one of those humidity
Interesting.
plants, which I had never done before, and it was fine, but it just started not doing
Well, and
too
it's
hot.
like,
So
well, isn't it kind of I mean, I know it's not a succulent, but it's succulent like in
yeah,
that it
I
has
thought so
water in its
too.
leaves. So I just
Yeah,
didn't
I thought they're thick.
anticipate.
I mean, I had no idea. I wasn't misting the room for the peperomia, that's for
Right.
sure. But it just started like popping out new leaves. I also got some cuttings from it to propagate,
Mm.
and the cuttings started popping out new leaves when I started doing
Ooh,
that.
nice.
So I guess in the future, if you have one, try that. Seems to be
Yeah.
bringing it
I mean, I
back.
have it in the bathroom. So it's like in the highest humidity
Yeah,
option that I have at this point,
yeah.
really. So I don't know. It's not
So
dead yet, and I
weird.
haven't had a chance. This happened like a couple days ago, so I haven't really like dug in to figure out the issue. Ooh, this is a
Yeah.
side note, but you want to know another not so great thing I found in my bathroom plant?
What?
One of my bathroom plants.
What?
Okay, I had that rattlesnake calathea for a while. That
Oh yeah,
big,
yeah, yeah,
pretty.
yeah.
It died in the
Yes.
snowvid stuff because I didn't
Oh,
water it for
damn.
like 4 weeks, and
Didn't
so
have
it
any water.
shriveled and died. Of course, right? Exactly. The snow that I was boiling, I needed to use to flush the toilet, so the plants didn't get it. And I got a new one. So I got a new one. It was smaller, but put it kind of in the same spot. Like, it's okay. And I've been doing fine with it, I thought. Anyways, I go to water a couple days ago when this peperomia thing
Uh-oh.
happened. It is covered in like webbing, aka
Uh-uh.
spider mites, like straight up spider
No.
mites all over it, which means, again, I let it get too dry.
And it's like, how? Where did the fucking spider mites even come from? Like,
How? And like now I'm freaking out about all my bathroom plants that are
oh
in
my
there. So,
gosh, dude.
anyways, that's so annoying. That's
If
just
you are interested in pest management, you should check out.
what episode is it, Tate? Do you remember?
Ooh, I don't think I have the episode off the top of my head, I'm gonna be honest.
It's episode 10.
Episode 10.
And I didn't memorize it. I just have the list to be able to reference because, I love to plug old episodes.
I guess you gotta re-listen to that episode yourself.
Yeah, I guess so, dude. I've
Just
been
kidding.
trying so hard. This is a conversation for another episode, but anyways, maybe we'll have to do a pest freaking update.
Maybe your rattlesnake will join the Survivors Club.
We'll see.
'Cause it's gonna survive. I believe
I
in it.
sincerely
believe in
doubt
it. I
any
believe in you.
Calathea will ever join the Survivors Club, but we'll see. So yeah, my plan for most of my Survivors Club plants anyway is to finally repot them. A lot of them haven't been repotted in since I got them. So
Yeah, I need to do that too.
moving forward, I want
I
to
need to
refresh
do that
their
too.
soil, give, throw a little worm tea in there, like really kind of
Yes.
get them going now that we're in the true growing season.
Let me tell you, I just fertilized my plants recently with some worm tea, and they are loving it.
I need
gotta
to do
say,
that.
They're loving it. My
I
citrus
just-
tree was not looking good. Gave it a bunch of worm tea. It's popping out new leaves like crazy.
I need to do it.
A lot of my plants.
You know how it is. It's on the list, but
Oh yeah, I totally get it. Trust me.
I do also want to say I think it's worth mentioning that, kind of like we said at the beginning, why and how these plants ended up being the ones that survived, who knows? As we've discussed many times, there's a lot of variables that go into taking care of plants.
For sure.
These survivor plants that we have don't necessarily mean that they're the hardiest plants to exist and that they will stay alive for you, though I hope that they serve you like they served us. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean it's kind of somewhat random. It seems like. I mean,
Kinda,
there's so
yeah.
there's so many factors that it's like who knows?
And there's just, like I said earlier, too, like there's been so many plants that I would have thought are hardier or that I put a lot more energy into taking care of, and it just didn't work out for whatever reason. So,
yeah,
I feel like
for sure.
it took me a while to really become a plant person because it really bothered me, / still kind of bothers me that there's not really like any rhyme or reason half the time. And it's sometimes really hard, even if you know the signs, like you know what it looks like to be overwatered or underwatered or whatever. The reality of taking care of plants is there is no formula and there is no right way and wrong way. You just
you kind of
have
to figure it out for yourself.
Yeah, wing it and hope for the best.
You kind of find your own formula eventually.
Yeah.
And even then, sometimes some issues may happen.
True.
Yeah. Agreed.
So what we want to know from you guys is, what are your most tried and true survivor plants? I am sure there are tons of plants out there that I love to hear stories of plants that were like passed down. Like, oh, my grandma gave me this plant and it's been in this pot for a long time, or
X amount of years.
Yes, or this is a cutting from a cutting from a cutting from a cutting of a grandma's plant or something like that. So we would love to hear your survivor plants, or what is your oldest plant that has stuck with you through it all. Share that with us. You can find us on Instagram and Twitter at PlantThatSis. Our website is plantthatsis.com, and you could email us if you want to, plantthatsis@gmail.com.
Please share. Yeah, what plants have you given up on that just came back, or what plants did you not give up on that you cared for and that are no longer in your survivor club, or at least
or anything in between those.
Anything
they're in your survivor club. That's
obviously I'm struggling with the survivor club idea. I'm like, you can't leave the survivor club if it's alive. So I guess what I mean is, what plants exited the survivor club because they died. I don't know.
Yeah, who did you think would go? Who were your early predictions of who would make it to the survivors club that did not?
Yes, we'd love to hear about it. That's all I'm trying to say.
Thank you all so much for listening. We really appreciate it, and we'll catch you next week.
Catch you next week. Bye.
Bye.